All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Sports Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are now going to rank the teams in the NFC East post free agency. So this is going to be the replacement now for the season overviews because we were doing that for a while. And now we will do these as we move closer to the draft. Now, this is not going to be as long as, the season overviews because now we're doing divisions, so that kind of shortens it up a little bit. But this will basically take up all of next week as well. So that's this is the segment 5 replacement. So let's start off with the number 4 team. And I don't want to say this, but I have to. Number 4 is the Giants. I think I like the moves that the Giants have made this offseason. They added a corner, they added a safety, Javon Holland and Adenabo from the Saints. But, and then they also added Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston to the quarterback room. So I do think they made some upgrades, and, they signed a lot of depth guys on the offensive line, the defensive line. They signed Golston from the Cowboys. So, I like the defense I like going into the year, just like last year. The problem is, when I look at the Giants compared to the other teams in the division, I still don't think, even with all of these moves that they have made, I still don't think they really made progress in trying to narrow the gap between the other teams. Now, maybe with Dallas, but I think Philly and Washington are just, they're far away right now. So, I got them at number 4. Sorry, Giants. Then I got Dallas at 3. All right, Dallas had a disappointing year last year. You had injuries to Dak Prescott. CeeDee Lamb was banged up towards the end of the year. They weren't great at running the football. The defense also took a little bit of a step back, although it did get better as the year went on. But, they didn't really make any major moves. We saw Zach Martin retire. They signed a couple of running backs to add to their running back room. They signed Javonte Williams, and who else did they sign? I'm trying to think. Who else did they... Hold on. Who's the other running back that the Cowboys signed? Let's go to the Cowboys offseason. But yeah, they really didn't make any major moves that really moved the needle for me, and that was kind of the same as last year. They did re-sign Oza Digizua to their defensive line. They brought in Solomon Thomas. They brought back Avante Turpin. They signed Miles Sanders, that's who it was, who was with the Panthers. They cut him, and now they brought him in. They also signed Paris Campbell to that receiver room. Robert Jones, who was with the Dolphins previously. They brought back Dante Fowler Jr. He was with them previously. They traded for Kai Elam. That was the former first-round pick from the Bills. So, yeah, Kenneth Murray they signed. Yeah, nothing that really moved the needle for me. But I do think Dallas, with the healthy Dak Prescott next year, they will be better. They will win more than 7 games, in my opinion. Now, it's going to be tougher because, now the Commanders are very good. And we didn't really get to see Dak Prescott take on the Commanders, the current iteration of the Commanders, because he got hurt. The Cowboys, however, did split with the Commanders. They won that crazy game in Washington. They did lose the final game of the regular season. Marcus Mariota threw the game-winning touchdown. But, I think they're going to be better. Now, we'll see what they do in the draft. Could they address the running back position in the draft? Maybe not, because they feel like, we got, 2 veteran guys. And they also still have Deuce Vaughn, I believe. So maybe they don't address that. I think receiver is probably a position they could address because, you got CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Cooks went back to New Orleans. So, yeah, outside of CeeDee Lamb, it's kind of up in the air. So I think they could definitely address the receiver position. Running back, like I said, maybe. Offensive line. The defense, I think, with DeMarcus Lawrence leaving, that could be something they address. But I got them at 3. I think they're still better than the Giants. So now we get to number 2. It's the Commanders. I love what the Commanders did they traded for Deebo Samuel. You added number 2 to that wide receiver room behind Terry McLaurin. I do like that move. I feel like Deebo is going to be on a redemption tour, and I think he'll bounce back. I think he will do well with the Commanders, and I think they'll have a lot of different schemes and plays developed for him. So I like that move. But the Laramie Tunsil deal I thought came out of nowhere. I didn't expect that. That's a really good left tackle that they traded for, and they get him from a team in the Texans where it's like, offensive line was not good for the Texans last year. Why are you trading one of your best offensive linemen? But that's what they did. And look, they made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, and I did not expect them to do that. I didn't have them making the playoffs. I had them, finishing at the bottom of the division. And I was wrong. But that had a lot to do with their young quarterback and Jane Daniels, who played really well last year. And I think we expect him to be even better in year 2. So I got the Commanders at 2. And then at 1, I know they lost guys, but can't put the Eagles anywhere else other than 1. They're the Super Bowl champions. They are the Super Bowl champions. They are going to be good once again next year. They're going to be a problem. Some guys they're going to have to replace, but you know what? This is the front office that can do that. Where they lose guys, but hey, they can find replacements. You had Saquon Barkley come in, and he had his best year by far. Jalen Hurts was solid, especially in the postseason. You got 2 very good receivers. I'm curious to see what they do with Dallas Goedert, because I know I've been seeing that he could be traded. The defense also, the offensive line, can't forget about them, the best unit in football. And then the defense was incredible in the Super Bowl, and they did lose guys on defense, but I think they'll be okay. They re-signed Zach Bond, which I think was very important for them to do. You still got Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell going into their second years in the NFL. I mean, this team's going to be a problem. You got the 2 guys up the middle, and Jalen Carter. It's just and Davis. I mean, they're number 1. They're number 1, and we'll see what they do in the draft. I mean, they're going to have to replace some of these veteran guys. Brandon Graham retired. They let go of Darius Slade. They traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So, there's guys that they're going to have to replace, and they will be able to do that. So, to go through it again, I got the Giants at 4, Cowboys at 3, Commanders at 2, Eagles at 1. Let me know what you guys think about these rankings. What would your rankings be post-free agency? So, we will cover the other 7 divisions between now and next week. Well, tomorrow and next week. But that is pretty much it for the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to check out all the other shows as well. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to both YouTube channels. Again, appreciate you guys' support each and every day when we do the show here. The draft, we're getting closer and closer to it. A couple weeks away. Looking forward to that. NBA playoffs are right around the corner. So, tomorrow on the show, we will talk about the Lakers Mavericks game. We will talk about it because it's a big deal with Luka making his return tonight. Looking forward to that. And, talk about, we'll do more division rankings, things like that. Anything else that comes out, we will cover it. Still in the early stages of what the show's going to be about tomorrow. So, as always, I'm your host Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.